Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Walking Dead episode 2 video. Probably like the best episode of Walking Dead I've ever seen. I can't remember the last time off the top of my head that the B team had such an exciting story. Like they did an amazing job. You have to remember that all the big hitters are dealing with the super PAC right now, which we actually didn't see during this episode. So let's just go ahead and get into it. There's so much stuff to go on. And I'll explain who that new character is, Denise Cloyd. She's right out of the comics. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet, and new round of the giveaway starts now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So here we go, starting with top 5 WTF moments. Number 5, meet Denise Cloyd. She is the new doctor. Same story in the comics, like it's just ripped right off the page. She explains she has medical training, she was gonna be a surgeon, but then the apocalypse happened, so she's just trying to do the best that she can. And the adorable thing about her, her name is Merritt Weaver in real life, that's the name of the actress, is that she is a coward just like Eugene. They just seem like they're tailor-made for each other. Like both of them have a natural tendency towards cowardice, but they're both very useful once they get over that fear hump, like once they get over the initial fear of whatever situation is happening. Probably my favorite Denise moment though wasn't like the awkward introduction, it was at the end when everyone was starting to feel the grief of what had happened, and Tara's slowly walking away and says, I actually just wanted to remind you, get the brain. Denise is still experiencing the shock of losing the patient on the table and the craziness was going on, and Tara just like slips it in just really casually like, don't forget to get her brain. What I'm expecting from her character is that she'll survive as long as they have the safe zone. So if they end up destroying the safe zone this season, then all bets are off. But it seems like she'll be on the show at least through episode 8. Usually when The Walking Dead blows places up like big locations, it's either premieres, mid-season finales, or the regular season finale. On to number 4 though. Jesse hulks out and gives the wolf a giant haircut in the chest. The best thing about this isn't the tension, like the moment before the storm, before everything goes crazy. It's when she's in the middle of it and her eyes go all crazy and Ron walks up really quietly behind her and just watches his mom stab the shit out of this wolf. He is never going to cut his hair again. Alexandra Breckenridge, the actress, is a series regular, I think, so I'm expecting that Jesse's going to be around, so they might have to change her plot from the comics. They're in the middle of No Way Out. That's like the comic that they're working through right now in the TV show. So they could do her story from the comics, but it seems like they might end up changing it. Those of you that have read the comics, do you think that this encounter that Jesse had, her killing the wolf, is evidence that they've completely changed her storyline from the comics? Or do you think that that is still coming down the road? Please use spoiler tags just in case people don't want to know what ends up happening to Jesse in the comics. But we actually learned a little bit more about what's going on with her character when she's talking to Ron in the early parts of the episode, like before the shit hit the fan. Mostly that she's still on pretty good terms with Rick, even though she acknowledges that things are kind of weird. It was kind of hard to tell where they stood after that black and white flashback in episode 1. Like, is she just like completely just gonna push him away, or are they gonna continue to be close? So it seems like Jesse and Rick might still be a thing, but usually that's the kiss of death for characters on a TV show. Like once you enter into a loving relationship, you turn into one of Beth's boyfriends. You get marked for death. On to number 3 though, Enid's intro. I would say this is on par with Bob's intro from the second half of season 4. There was an episode that just had this really long Bob introduction where you saw what happened to him before he met the survivors, just like being an alcoholic walking down the road to music. The JSS turns out to stand for Just Survive Somehow. It does kind of sound like something that a teenager would come up with, just like a really simple phrase. I thought that it would either be that or her original name before the apocalypse hit, as if Enid was a name that she gave herself after the apocalypse started. But my favorite thing about Enid wasn't those scenes with Carl. I mean, that was kind of touching to see Carl get those moments. You don't see a lot of really big Carl scenes, but now that Chandler Riggs is slowly getting older, I think you're going to see more and more of that. They're going to start giving him more scenes. But it was when she found the turtle and she just ate it like you would eat a crab, just cracking the shell open and just picking the bits out. Totally gross, but it was so funny to see her write JSS with the bones in the ground. Like the awkward kind of funny where you're laughing, but you're also a little bit scared. That's one of the awesome things about The Walking Dead. Like it can make you laugh at like really awkward moments that you later feel bad about. Like, oh, I shouldn't be laughing about this. Someone is getting their head chopped in half. Speaking of which, on to my number 2 moment, Jedi Morgan versus the wolves. So there was this really meta thing going on in the episode that I'm going to spread across my number 2 and number 1 moments, where it was kind of putting forth Carol's ideology versus Morgan's ideology. Morgan has this really good speech where he's talking to the wolf where he's like, you can't continue on this way or else you're going to die. Like, violence will only breed more violence. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. So we're only in episode 2. Just expect that theme to continue, those competing ideologies. I know their conversation made it seem like Morgan had been a wolf previously. Like the wolf seemed like he knew him really well. Like, oh my god, it's you, you're that guy. It's totally possible they could have known each other for an extended period of time, but what I thought that the wolf was referring to was the season 5 finale when we see Morgan in the flashback and he's traveling along and runs into that wolf that he later was not able to kill. And that's another thing too we need to debate in the comments. Do you think that, because of the way they were positioning Carol and Morgan in this episode, that Morgan killed that wolf at the end? You can't do it, but you should have done it before. So I think the implication is that he ran him off, like that wolf is still alive, and he will continue to be a villain for the next couple of episodes in season 5. I think I said in my episode 1 video, but there's always two different kinds of conflict with The Walking Dead. There's conflict inside the group, like these two competing ideologies of Carol versus Morgan's philosophy, and then you have conflict outside the group with actual villains that are trying to stab you in the face. The wolves that survived in this episode, the ones that Morgan ran off along with this guy, might end up being that external conflict, in addition to the super PAC, which is totally still coming. But finally, onto my number 1 WTF moment, Rambo Carol blows her cover as a Stepford wife. As much as Morgan had some amazing scenes in this episode playing off of Carol, this was really Carol's episode. And I know I said this is kind of like the B team, like this was like the B team episode because all the A players were out dealing with the super PAC, but Carol is like an A team member, like one of the hard hitters disguised as a B team member. So I'm actually really interested to see how the rest of the safe zone deals with Carol now that they know that she's a confirmed badass. Like, oh, you know how to use all these weapons, and you know how to use camo, and you're not afraid to kill people on sight or leave people to die. Like Father Gabriel, for instance, that was interesting. She just walked right past him and was like, he's fine. She was totally ready to let him die. And the end of the episode, when she's sitting on her porch with those cigarettes, the cigarette thing, that's like a whole other thing we have to talk about. That was so funny. Just the way people's conversations inform successive scenes, like the cigarettes, tracing the path of the cigarettes. But I feel like they left things ambiguous on purpose. Like, she was kind of crying over that cigarette. She saw the A that kind of reminded her of train car A. Then she passed Morgan on the street like they were walking down each other's paths. That's why I thought that Morgan might have killed the wolf, because he walked down the path that Carol had walked down. But I think they just wanted you to feel like Carol was considering what Morgan was saying. Like, if I continue down this path, then I'm going to die. Violence will meet with more violence. But the real reason that you have to admire Carol is that even more so than Rick, she's so much more ready than Rick to give up her humanity to protect the people that she cares about. Rick kind of does that, but it still takes him a little while to get going in any given situation. He still pauses to give thought. Carol is just like, it's automatic. The minute she sees Cigarette Woman get the hatchet buried in her face, she immediately activates Rambo mode. And I love the camo that she was using too. The other wolves thought that she was one of their friends because she took the clothes off of one of their bodies. So if you want to explain this episode to someone who doesn't watch The Walking Dead, just say there's a whole bunch of characters, they were doing spring cleaning, they were making spring cleaning casseroles. It's like the show is shaking the tree and getting some of the cast members to fall down, freshening things up, even though technically it's the fall, so you can't really call it spring cleaning. Let me know in the comments though, what was your favorite moment, and where do you think that Enid is going? Like, do you think that we'll see her again, or she gone forever? And what do you think is going to happen with the Super PAC next week? Because they're still coming. I mean, I expected them to just walk up all like, hey, what's going on? We heard there was a party. Just remember that the walkers are relatively slow, even though there are a billion of them. So we see Rick running down the street. So they'll probably get back to the safe zone to tell everyone, hey, there is a shit ton of walkers headed this way. I will be really interested to see how they top episode 2 though. Episode 2 felt so great, and it was that much better because it was the B characters. Like, whenever Daryl's on screen, whenever Rick's around, you expect badass things to happen because they're badass characters. When you have people like Carl, you have like all the lesser characters, you don't expect quite as much. So when they deliver like this, you're just like, oh my god, this is amazing. So giant high fives, best episode of season 6 so far. Hopefully things get better. I would be really disappointed if it all went downhill from here. But what's going to happen tomorrow is because there's a new Star Wars trailer, that's going to be my video tomorrow, so my Walking Dead Q&A will post later in the week like it has the last couple weeks. I feel like if you're going to bump things, it might as well be for new Star Wars footage, so everybody freak out. That video won't post till later in the night, but if you have ESPN, they're going to air it on TV during Monday Night Football. On ESPN, that is. So while you guys wait for new Star Wars footage, you can click here for the last episode 7 teaser that I posted earlier today, and you can click here for all my other Walking Dead videos. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.